Good morning. Okay, let's get rolling here. Half day. Happy holiday, everyone. A second here. Just getting resituated, guys. Had to go on a backup system. Everything went down, luckily for backups and duplication. So we're able to operate here this morning. All right, let's see where the markets are at. Start with the Dow here. Well, yesterday was an inside day, as you could see. There's a few things moving, but overall things ended up as expected. Overall, just bullish. It was a positive close. We're getting a consolidation at this prior high here. And at this point, let me just get a little drawing thing out here. We still haven't cleared these highs here as far as the Dow goes. So I'm not sure that we're out of the water, but seasonally the market is bullish. And, this is a time, well, it may happen Friday, because Friday, while the trading is typically over by midday because of the holiday, it may be the day where this actually breaks out if it can't do it today. So we've got, so far, continuing to trade within this range. We've got a positive start, but, really can't say much about it other than it being positive because it's not breaking out above the resistance. But if it can do that, well, now we've got the door open to new all-time highs, and I'm sure that would be making great news. And we'll just see if we can get that going here. NASDAQ is inching its way higher toward that old high. You can see there on the weekly chart. Hourly, looks like we've got a bottom put in place. It's a good pattern here. For those of you that are new to price patterns and the way we do it here, you can see the erratic price action intraday where prices broke out above the highs and they came in, they break down through the lows, and it looks like it's going down here into the gap fill area. There was a little congestion over there to the left to take note of. But in any event, it looks like it's coming down to the most recent data, and it pivots. And now it's created a new reference point that wasn't there before. And we just define a pivot by 3 higher lows to the left and the right. Pretty simple. And once it does that, it provides us a reference point where buyers might step up again. So as technical traders, we see that, demand increased there. Buyers are able to hold it above the gap. They created that. Let's see what happens here. And it just continued to be choppy, but nonetheless, they held it. So this is, erratic price action. That's a given. Up, down, is trying to decide which ways are going to go. It could have broken to the downside, and if that had failed, but it goes up into the area of this prior high area. And this pattern is something, what I'm saying, to take note of. This is uncertainty. We're not sure what that's going to do yet. But once it pops up like that, and you've got this little, let's just call it a hook for a better naming, you can see it kind of looks like a fish hook where you've got the stem and then it kind of starts turning up. And just take a look. This is what we like to look at. Look at the little detail here where this bar breaks below the low and it comes back. And that's a tell. And it's kind of a term that we've been using a little bit lately in the MT lives, like a tell where it dipped down under these recent lows and then it holds. And that's a signal to buy. And of course, that happened in the middle of the night, but doesn't matter whether it's the futures or the middle of the night or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you see that pattern, buy it. So next step is, well, where might it go? And we look to the left and we see it's not that far away. So if you're a scalper, you got a little opportunity there. And now prices have pulled back here a little bit and not too much going on here. And we'll see, narrow range day, it's early. We'll see how far it can go. S&Ps, new all-time high. They've been leading the way higher. And we've got a similar pattern here where the, pivot, retest up, hook, up, and it looks like it's on its way. We're going to attempt to make its way toward that big 3,000 level up there. So higher low, higher high, prior days. I know this should be green. Prior day's low is our first reference point of support. That's the line in the sand that should not be violated. Common sense. It's moving up. 3,000 is an initial target. There's nothing up above, but being a whole number, it's something to take note of. So we'll see if it gets below here. Well, then all bets are off for 3,000. You always have at least two scenarios, one bullish and one bearish. And of course, it could just chop neutral there. And we'll see how it unfolds. Bonds are up here. This is interesting. And it is clearing these highs. And well, it is still up against this prior resistance area here. That's bullish price action. And of course, that's a concern. We've talked about this a whole bunch, where some of the closer yields have already inverted, like the 3-month versus the 10-year, but not the 3-month versus the 30-year. It still hasn't inverted, but this moving up here continues to communicate to us that the bond market, which is, dwarfs the equity market, is saying, you know what? We just don't believe this economy everything's going to be okay with this trade war stuff. And, the show that went on over the weekend, we're not convinced. Otherwise, this wouldn't be breaking out above these highs. Now, it's not convincing where it's cleared these highs. And if it does, I think equities are going to have a pretty rough time with bonds continuing to push up like that. But, we've got our lines in the sand. Take note of them. Set your alerts up and down. And so something to take note of, that this is at resistance. And let me scroll this back here. That topping tail didn't follow through to the downside. Never broke the low on that weekly topping tail, which is bullish. So keeping an eye on that. Equity markets continue to kind of grind their way higher. Maybe they just need to make those new all-time highs on the Dow and hit the news, and everybody think things are great. And maybe that's a bull trap. We'll all find out in the next week or so. And crude oil. Well, that kind of gave it up. It looked like it was going to go up, and that gave it back. And that is kind of what you would look for confirmation of the fact that bonds are going up, interest rates coming down. If you thought the economy was going to weaken, and oil would come down, and that's a big down bar there. So next step is, let's look at the transports. And there's kind of a mess. I'm not so sure what this is going to do here. This nice reversal. It did not perform as the broader markets did, meaning relative weakness. But it did get that bottoming tail bar last week, and we've got this shortened holiday week. So I think, the takeaway is we're going to see what happens when everybody comes back from holiday next week, and what news, and we'll get a better idea which way things are going to be going here. The Russell, that came down yesterday as well, and kind of, the Russell and transports have been underperforming. And I've said before, historically, as the markets have gone up, they have played catch up, and they have to a little extent, not as much as they did last year. So we'll just have to see how much they have left here, and whether they actually can get turned around, have a positive day, if that's what we are going to be seeing with the markets. Now, gold came on pretty darn strong, turning it back around. I thought it could come down to this minor support level, and it didn't do that. I don't like setups that have these little shallow retracements. Nonetheless, it's back up here. There's some profit taking with this topping tail. Maybe just chop sideways here. We've covered numerous times the fact that this is broken out. So this is some jiggles that are going on here, just a consolidation, which is in the higher time frame. Dan and I did a pretty great MT live, I thought, on these 1, 2, 3 continuation patterns, and that is what's forming here on this weekly chart of just a consolidation in the top part of that wide range bar. And historically, that means if it clears that, it can continue to move higher. So that's something you're going to want to keep an eye on next week, whether it's gold futures or GLD, GLDX, the gold miners. Hadn't broken out, but you can see the uptrend here and similar, not breaking out above all those highs there, but this is, what we'd want to see. Let's begin to play catch up. So this may be a good place to go if gold stays strong, that this would then break out. So GDX could be a good place to participate in an ETF. And with that said, what time is it here? It's a little early, but, the markets have been kind of quiet as far as, and so we always try and give a little education in our pre-market reviews, as well as what's going on in the broader markets. And Dan covers our open positions to all of you on YouTube, so you can see what we're doing and some gap plays. And one of the things that that's cover, but I'm sure you've seen this already, Dan, this move in Tesla. This stock is just can be vicious, to play with. Get on the wrong side of it, it's going to take your head off. But
well, do you remember I've been
big move up here in Tesla, and that consolidation. Now it's cleared those highs. So
can you hear me,
guys? We'll be back on Friday for half the day, and we'll see what happened after the holiday and cover that with you. And Jim's asking about GBTX. Yeah, Bitcoin came down a whole bunch. Do I have the symbol in this backup section here? I don't see it. See. Yeah. Pretty volatile, Tim. I think this has got to settle down. But if you want to give it a whole bunch of room, straight up, coming back down again, I think it's got to settle down a little bit. But maybe putting on a little position with a big stop and then looking to add. All righty, Dan, all yours.
All right, thanks. Good morning. Yeah, Greg, I think you got me muted because I was trying to comment on Tesla there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan. I did because I had to flip to the other computer and it was, sorry.
Yeah, it's just going to add the comment that I've been saying here for a couple of days, that this pattern said that we could trade this up or down, whichever way it breaks, this consolidation here. And, obviously it's to the upside now. Yeah, gapping up almost 240. I've been saying the last 2 days it was a put spread candidate, but there was no good juice. On our weeklies, we only have one open position, Amazon here, put spread. And it looks great. We covered cash at 80% of max gain and moved the stop to yesterday's low. And if it closes like this, I'll be looking to sell it for next week too. Run. These are our swing and options traders position. We got into this yesterday. This was, breakout to all-time highs, daily, weekly, monthly. Whiskey Hotel, the old White House. We bought wide range breakout. FTC, long stock. We bought that one actually on Monday into the close. OMC, long stock. Hey, Greg, I hear you typing.
I am typing. I'm answering it, people in YouTube asking questions. Sorry.
Oh, okay, but yeah, rarely. I've never heard your typing keys like that. All right, ROP, we're long stock. Tilray, we lagged into a covered call. And there's some news on CGC. We'll take a look at that. So it looks like we're up a few pennies is all, but at least it's not being drugged down. MYL, we're long stock. RPD, covered call. And that's it. So actually not as many as we've had over the last couple of weeks. USNA had earnings 63.50. Wow. Look at that, just cut in half. Wow. It's very bearish, but those gaps are too big. I just saw this kind of a sell setup. So I'll have this one in my back pocket if we start looking for shorts. KHC. This had earnings, and it's doing absolutely nothing on earnings. ISCA, I think in earnings, and I don't like the way it trades. You're gone. I guess saw a little F cell here going by the ticker. Look at yesterday's volume. You had some bottom fishers there. Wow. Wow. And now percentage wise, it's gapping up 50%. 60 to 9, well, 55 to 88 is over 50%. Wow. Bud here, 93 and change. That's a big gap. You know, Greg was talking about 1, 2, 3s. Look at this one right here. It's a 1, 2, 3 at resistance. The inside bar was resting. Then you had an engulfing bar this week. SYMC, big old gap. I think there's takeover rumors by Abgo, so this one's getting whacked. You know, depending on how this holds at the open, we might get a put spread on that. Tesla we looked at, CGC, it was down a lot more. Some guy on the CNBC, they were saying the co-CEO got fired. SBH, this was McGraw, your short setup yesterday. I said I liked it. AYI, it's a mess. That was a bearish gap. These are all yesterday's now. McGraw, I know you did the put spread. I gave it to our subscribers at 65 cents, which was never filled, and I just canceled it, but we'll keep an eye on him. ADP, bearish gap, but hell, these are all, again, yesterday. This was a beautiful 1, 2, 3 right here. Look at that. Nice entry. Looks higher. Coup. 2 days ago, Monday, that would have been a good put spread candidate. Intel's been much weaker. Gold, we had a call spread that we stopped out of the back half yesterday at a profit. LVS, I've been watching. I like this bullish gap from this. Gustav, that's your Honeywell. I've been watching this to see if it can turn based on the weekly, but now with Monday's little breakout failure there, that thing is still being dumped. A new IPO back to its opening price. But look at the 15-minute. See how that 20 MA is a nice visual reference? It's down, and then when it flattens out, by definition, the selling is eased because you got a flat 20 MA. What's a 20 MA? Well, it's the average price of the last 20 closer bars, and it's flat. So the buyers and sellers have a standoff. That doesn't mean you buy it. You need a pattern, but big old price void. That's worth watching. Let's put that here. ADP2. Real, another recent IPO that took out the lows. Boeing, big old mess. Plant. Work, look at that messy, messy, messy IPO. Fiver. Wow, that's actually a bearish 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's ugly. Another IPO not doing so hot. Old volatile beyond. Nothing exciting yet. Old Uber and Lyft got sloppy. No interest there. Look at that breakout failure now. Wow, we took our stop on Monday. All right, so I'm actually done too. Yeah, things are definitely slower. Hey, Debbie, don't forget to wish Gusto a happy birthday. So the Q's here, just kind of drifting lower. So doing absolutely nothing at the market open. FEYE. 15 bucks. That's not a good gap. That's not great. Let me look at the ones that you emailed me, McGraw. Takeover. Some names to watch in sympathy. Okay, so that was one. FEYE, KMW. Sloppy as can be. Maybe a put spread, 30-minute high. Checkpoint. FTNT, 79 bucks. This one ain't bad for a put spread, but it kind of has to be under last week's low. Someone girl, FTNT, just watch that split spread.